Hey, I'm Brendan, and today we're going to talk about the easiest investing mistake to make. It's really common, and I want to make sure that you're not doing it. In this video, we'll go over what exactly the investing mistake is, why it's a really big deal, and if you found out through watching this video that you're actually making this mistake, then I'll walk you through on a couple of platforms how you can go in and fix it. First off, what is this mistake I'm talking about? What's going on here? Well, this is what happens. First, you decide you want to invest. You open an investment account. You send the money into the investment account, and then you stop there. So you're not actually investing the money. You're not buying any particular investment. You're leaving it in this kind of holding account that the investment company typically has. And what that means is that your money isn't going to work for you. It means that you've been sending your money to a dead-end street, to the equivalent of something like a savings account, and it hasn't been worth your time so far to invest at all. So why is this such a big deal, and why is this worth talking about in this video? Well, in my opinion, it's a huge deal. This isn't even a big deal. It's worse than that. As an example, let's say you've been sending in like $250 per month to your Roth IRA for the last 10 years or so. Let's say you've been making this mistake and it's only been going to this holding account and it hasn't actually been getting invested, and so you're only earning 1% interest on average. That would mean that over the last 10 years, you've saved up a total of $31,500. In contrast to that, if you'd actually been investing this same amount of money, $250 per month over the last 10 years, and it's invested, it's not sitting in the holding account, it's actually doing work for you, that would mean that your investments are now worth over $50,000. So without any time or energy or effort on your part, you could have made $15,000 more or not. And that's just over the course of 10 years. If you spread this out over 20 or 30 or 40 years, we're talking about the difference between you making hundreds of thousands of dollars more or not. So how do you know if this is happening to you? How do you know if you've been doing this? Well, the first indicator could be that your account balance is never significantly changing except when you send money in. So if things seem like really constant and then you put money in and it's really constant and you put money in, then odds are you're not investing. But the fact is that that may not be easy to notice unless you're a super nerd and you do math and you like check your account all the time like I do. The next way you can know if you've been doing this is to look and see if your account has something like a money market account or a holding account or something like that, a cash account. Sometimes they call it different names, but if the money is there and nowhere else, if it doesn't show it being invested in a stock or an index fund or something else, then this is probably the most obvious giveaway. Your money is sitting there doing nothing. It's not actually invested. I'm going to pull up my phone right now and show you exactly what I'm talking about because I use a bunch of different investing services, and if I'm honest, I think almost all of them do this particular thing. And so it's an unfortunate hurdle that you have to jump. If you're new to investing, this whole thing is probably kind of confusing, but I want you to be able to see it and know that it's happening so that it saves you from missing out on all this money. On one service in particular, they really don't do this to you, and that's Acorns, because you kind of have to pick the investment to even set up the account at all. So anytime money is going in there, it's being invested. But others do this, like M1 Finance absolutely does this. You have to tell it, hey, I want you to invest the money now. So for example, this one, I've called it Brendan's Pie. I've got a few different index funds in here that I invest in, and at the bottom you can see cash of $168. So what that means is that money is not invested at all. It's sitting there stagnant, doing nothing. If you look at your M1 Finance account and this top area here where I'm scrolling up and down, if that doesn't have anything specific picked and all you have down here is a cash balance at the bottom, that means you've been doing this. It's time to make a change. Let's look at another one. WeBull does this too. So on one of my WeBull accounts, this is what it looks like, and you can see that I've got an area there at the top that has kind of a number summary of different things that are happening. That very middle top number says cash balance. If your account just only has a cash balance there and you don't have anything down below that says my positions, then that means you're not investing at all. Your money is sitting there doing nothing. Robinhood is a similar story because whenever you first open Robinhood, it'll show you some different kind of numbers that are moving around or sitting there. But if your buying power number, that mine is currently at 0, if that is any amount of money, but whenever you scroll down, you don't have any stocks or any kind of ETFs or anything that you've invested in, then that means that you're not investing that money and it's just sitting there earning like 0.3% interest. We don't want that. And we could keep doing this. Vanguard is infamous for being sort of difficult to figure this out on. A number of other investing apps are the same way. Ally, a whole bunch of them do this. So look at your particular investing app that you're using or your investing service and try and look for some kind of number number like that it represents that you still have cash sitting there that's not invested. Now, why is this even a thing? Why are all these other investing services not like Acorns, where they just automatically invest your money? It gives you the option to have your money sit there in cash, and you can choose when to deploy it or not, because it does take time to transfer it to that account. So a lot of investing services aren't like Robinhood, and they don't just like front you some credit on the front end so that you can feel like you're investing right away and start investing right away. Most of them make you sit there and wait a few business days for the money to transfer from your bank to that investment service. So if you have cash that's already sitting there deposited, you don't have to wait. You can just invest it like Monday morning when you wake up, boom, send it, do some work. So it is kind of a feature to have it be sitting there in like in this waiting room, if you will, in this purgatory account, something like that. But the waiting room can hurt you if you never go in and get to have any action happening. So how do we fix this? The way to fix this problem is to now choose where you're going to invest the money and actually invest it. So depending on the app that you're using, sometimes that'll be called invest, sometimes it'll be called buy, but one way or the other, you have to actually put this cash to use. I'll pull up my phone again here so we can do another kind of example. For M1 Finance, there's a couple different ways that you can do this, but in general, if you've picked a pie that you want to invest with, then you can just start on that same screen that we looked at before, hit manage pie, and then hit buy, and it will give you the option to then put however much of that money that you have to work. Let's say I want to put in $10 first thing tomorrow morning. I'll hit confirm buy, and now the buy order has been submitted. Again, this whole like investing world of having to send in an order and then wait for stuff to happen because it's the weekend, or transfer some money and then wait a few business days. Like there are some of these kind of like lags in the process that can be confusing. So we have to kind of get used to that. Like that's par for the course. This is a normal course of action for what it means to invest. Like I said before, Robinhood is a little bit different because they will just let you start investing even before the money has landed. So that's kind of strange. And I actually don't want to invest more with Robinhood right now because this is an experiment that I've been doing where I threw darts at a dartboard to pick these stocks. And these are currently in a race against an index fund to see which ones make more money, because there's a lot of statistics out there that say randomly picking stocks may even do better than a professional picking stocks for you. And so I randomly picked these stocks by throwing darts at a dartboard, and they're racing against the entire stock market index fund. I think I've got one more video to make in that series just to wrap that up and see who's winning, but it's been an interesting experiment so far. What that would look like though, if you wanted to do something in Robinhood, is you can look up the stock that you want to buy. Say you want to buy some shares of Intel, and you pull up Intel, you hit trade, and then you hit buy. So I would want to buy in dollars because that's more logical to me. Let's say I want to send in $50. I want to buy them in Intel. I hit review and I swipe up. Sending order. I don't have any money in here that's cash, so I can't purchase any shares of Intel, but if you did, then you could. Let's do a similar thing for WeBull here. I've got an $8.28 cash balance. So let's say I want to go ahead and put that cash to use. I don't want it to be sitting there doing nothing. I want to buy some more Apple. So because I can't buy a full share of Apple because I just have $8 in here, we're going to have to change the order type. We're going to click on market because fractional shares are enabled. So instead of shares, we're going to go into US dollars, and I'll type in $8. Next, buy, I agree, confirm, can't place an order at this moment. Well, guess I can't do that right now with you. I'll do it tomorrow morning and place the order so that I can put this cash to use because I don't want to sit there and do nothing. The other reason why this might happen to you, even if you know that you're investing money, something like WeBull there, whenever I get a dividend, it gets deposited into that holding account, into that waiting room, and it just sits there in cash until I choose to invest it again. Ally Bank does a similar thing. Every time I get a dividend, it just sits there. So it doesn't automatically reinvest for you. It doesn't have a DRIP, dividend reinvestment program, that kind of rolls that into the next investment. So you may have to log back in periodically and put that money to work that's been deposited in your account. It's a good thing because you're getting dividends. Like, you're making money. This is good. We just need to make sure that if you want to be investing all that cash, you're actually checking on it and doing that. So if this investing mistake describes what's been happening with you, I'm sorry to hear it. That sucks because you've been missing out. But now you found this video, you can quickly fix it, and now you can get back to making money. The finance world and the investing world are pretty naturally confusing, and that's why I decided to make videos here on YouTube for you completely for free. If I'm honest, I wish things in the personal finance world weren't this tricky. I wish they were more straightforward. If you're just getting started and you're learning about investing and you haven't even started yet, I typically have been recommending Acorns to people so that you don't have this kind of problem. Like, you just put the money in, it's super simple and clear. You don't have to pick individual investments. It just does all that for you. So check that out if you're interested in that. In the description, I've linked my review of Acorns. So if you want to check that out, then that's easy to click on and watch as the next video. I also really like M1 Finance though. So that's easy to use. It's completely free, unlike Acorns that has a little monthly fee. And if you want to, you can pick your own investments in M1 Finance. For me, that's a great service to recommend to anyone. Good for a beginner, good for someone with more experience if you want to pick your own stuff, and it's free. I've also put my 2-year review of using M1 Finance in the description, and that's a great video for you to watch next as well. Hey, if you made it to the end of the video, I like to put a little Easter egg in for all of you guys who have made it this far, and I'm thinking about calling this account like the purgatory account, like this kind of middle ground where you're waiting for something to happen account. So if you made it this far and you got any value out of the video, then drop a comment with something about fire or like the fire emoji in it, because that would just be funny. Then anybody who made it this far along with you will know what you're talking about, and everyone else will just think that you thought the video was fire, but we'll know the truth, me and you. And if you made it this far and you have deep hatred welling in your heart, then make sure and hit that dislike button twice. If this video did teach you something new or you enjoyed it, then feel free to subscribe and to check out my other videos. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you guys. See you next time. Bye.